think I'm live now. Hi everyone, it's Ola Sulaimon and it's Friday, the 20th of September, the last time I checked. So on today's show, I'd like to talk about value added tax. I know immediately you hear that you think, oh, I'm not a business person, doesn't concern me. However, most of us pay VAT. And this particular video show, in case you're watching the video later on, is to explain basic things that you need to understand about value added tax. So I'm hoping that it's going to be, because I can't teach everything in 30 minutes, so I'll probably have one more week later on. However, my name is Ola Sulaimon, if we have not met, and I'm your tax girl. Now, every Friday at 12 o'clock, between 12 o'clock and 12:30, I have this program just to talk about different tax issues that affect most of us that are in UK or outside UK. The advice most of the time is to create a bit of awareness for you so that you know where to go to get proper advice in case it affects you or not. And I've got loads of nice feedback from it. However, I'm a chartered accountant. I work, my business is called Ronsu's Accountants. I advise small businesses and individuals in their accounting issues, in their tax matters, helping them to pay as much later tax they should be paying and ensuring that they do their work properly. Hello, thanks for joining. So today I'll be talking about value added tax. However, I usually have this tradition of talking about my week before I go on to the real show so that you know a bit of what have happened else for the week. So because I missed last week, I've posted different various tax tips. You can go and check on the Instagram or the Facebook. However, this week, I went for this dinner. This was on Tuesday, and they were celebrating a 30th anniversary or something. And for some strange reason, everybody's been having one party or another party this month. However, oh my God, it was nice to hear about all the good things the company has done. They've and this is mainly for entrepreneurs as well. They have a business ideas and they don't know how to fund their business. So that's what that organization is for. So the highlight for me, and everybody that knows me know I love my food, was the food. There was loads of food. I'm telling you. I'm even ashamed to say I even brought food back home. Don't tell anyone, and everybody's hearing this. It was very nice to celebrate with them, and that was very good. So before I keep talking, I'll just go on to VAT because it's a very, 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 very large, very wide tax in UK. Now, value added tax is a tax that most of us, when I say most of us, almost all of us pay VAT. The reason why some people would not pay VAT is probably because they are not UK residents. And one of the conditions that you have to be a UK resident to pay. And that's why some people, when they come on holiday, they can go to the airport and say, I'm not UK resident, this is my passport, I want the VAT back that I've paid, and they'll be given, because part of the condition is you have to be a UK resident. So apart from that, there are some items that you don't pay VAT, but I'll explain that in a minute without confusing you. So when you buy food, when you buy petrol, when you buy clothes, adult clothes, when you buy services, accounting services, somehow there's VAT in it. So that's why this particular video is just to talk about general knowledge on VAT. And if you're watching me for the very first time, I usually look down because I've written loads of nice things I would like to talk to you about, and I don't want to forget anything. So that's why I'll keep looking on my paper. So there are different type of supplies under VAT in UK. Now, when people say VAT, they're like, I'm getting VAT, it's like they're getting extra money. That money is actually not for them, it's for HMRC. That's another way of them bringing more income to them to use for other stuff in UK. So that VAT amount is that someone is being paid is just extra for them to give back to HMRC. Now, there are different types of supplies. There's a taxable supply, there's exempt supply, and there's some supplies that are outside value added tax. Now, if anything is under taxable supply, that's the one I would like to talk about first. So there are some things that whatever happens, it's under VAT. There are some items that you or services that you pay that they are exempt. No matter what happens, nobody can talk about them under VAT. And there are some that do not even fall in any way under VAT. So I'll talk about the taxable one first. I'm literally looking at my time as well so that I'm not running out of time. So the taxable supply, any good that does not fall under exempt item or fall under zero rate, any item that doesn't fall under zero rated or fall under reduced item is a standard rated VAT item. Most of the things we pay for under VAT are standard rated. And standard rated just means every time you buy an item that you're supposed to pay £1 for, they charge you £1.20. That 20%, the plan is to give HMRC at the end of the day. So the supplier will just collect the money from you and pass it to HMRC. So when you buy petrol of £10, you pay £12 because £2 needs to go to HMRC. So it's another way of them getting more money. So for every zero rated item, you pay for every standard rated item, you pay 20%. Example of them is clothes, shoes, even food. That food part is even more confusing because when we buy food that is hot, we pay VAT on it. When we buy food that is cold, we don't pay VAT on it. It's as bad as when you buy biscuits. We were talking about this one time. When you buy biscuit that has chocolate on top, you pay VAT. When you buy biscuit that doesn't have chocolate on top, you don't pay VAT. So because of that, there are different classifications. So for standard rated item, you pay VAT on them 20% at all times. Now, what happens with that is for all those sellers that are collecting 20%, the good thing for them is then for everything they then buy, they collect back the amount they've paid on VAT. So let's say I am standard rated VAT person because I supply accountancy and tax services. So if you come to me, I'll charge, rather than charge you £100, I'll charge you £120. The £20 I'll give HMRC. That's the plan. I'm supposed to give HMRC back that amount. However, I've gone to buy petrol of £20, or let me use a nicer figure, of £10. Rather than I've paid £12 rather than £10. So instead of giving HMRC £20, I'll give them £20 minus the £2, and then I'll give them back £18. That means on that item I haven't paid VAT on it. So that's the only advantage for. I'll talk about advantage later. So for every person that is supplying standard rated item, they have to pay VAT. They have to collect 20% from you and give it to HMRC. The second type of taxable supply is zero rated. In this case, they won't charge you VAT. It's 0%. So like I said earlier on, if you buy cold food, you don't pay VAT on it. They won't charge you. However, that person that is selling that item can still go and collect back money from HMRC from everything they sell. So like my first example now, if I was zero rated, I won't charge you. However, I've bought petrol of £10, I'll still get my £2 back from HMRC because it was a zero rated item. And then the last one is reduced item. Okay, the examples of zero rated items. What did I write down here? So books, newspaper, children's clothes, children's shoes, motorcycle, emlet, and several other things that fall under zero rated. Now, I said earlier on as well, food, you have to differentiate. If it's alcoholic drink, it has VAT in. If it is self-hot, there's VAT standard rated. If it is sweet, crepes, snacks, ice cream, as in there's VAT on it. That's not even hot food either. So, and then that takes us to the reduced rate. Now, for the reduced rate items, those ones, you pay 5% VAT on that one. So it still works the same way as the other ones. So rather than them charging you £20 extra on the £100, you pay £5. And the most common example of that one is electricity, gas, smoking cessation items like nicotine, etc., mobility items for elders, health things as well. Now, the other types of taxable supplies are the ones that are exempt, like I said earlier on. Those ones do not fall under VAT at all. So anybody that is supplying this item do not even need to register for VAT because they don't fall under VAT, and they can't claim VAT. So when they sell the item to you, they can't claim VAT, they can't charge you VAT, and like zero rated they can't claim back VAT too. So they don't fall under VAT. An example of that is when you provide care services. So at times when people come to me, I'll be like, I want to register for VAT. One of the questions I need to ask them is, what are you supplying? Just to be sure that why are you trying to register for VAT? So when you know what they're supplying, then you know what to advise. So I know, for example, charity items at times, most of the time, does not fall under VAT. Lottery tickets is exempt. Charitable funding event is exempt. People that work in care, they can't charge VAT except if they have a way of going about it. Now the question then is, and there are some items that do not fall under VAT for any reasons. For example, when two people in the same group are trying to transfer things amongst themselves, they can't claim VAT because it's a way of them manipulating stuffs. When you're trying to transfer your item, your business under going concern, you can't claim VAT as well. Extra other thing. So the question then you need to ask yourself is, why do I want to be VAT registered? A lot of people, when they start their business, they're thinking, oh God, everybody is VAT registered, I want to be VAT registered as well. And I don't know, I had this lady yesterday, we were talking about VAT, and I told her, I said, every time anybody tells me VAT, I'm like, oh God, question one, why do you want to be VAT registered? For me, it's good because I'm going to be charging more whatever they need to charge, whenever I need to charge them, because that's an extra service. However, I always feel like it's something that you don't really need to do if there's no need for it. The reason, like I said earlier on, is you're like a unpaid tax person to HMRC. You are the one collecting the money on their behalf, and then you're passing the money back to them, and then they'll give you tiny back of that money. So because of that, and then you're paying loads of money for someone to do that account for you. So I don't know, in my own rationale, if you shouldn't really be, if there's no need for you to be VAT registered, just push as much as you can. I know some people they don't have a choice, so they have to. But the only good thing about it is they receive the input VAT. Now, for everybody that is, and that will be one of the reasons why anybody wants to register for VAT. If you're buying a lot of things, like paying for a lot of services, then okay, most likely you'll be halfway. You won't literally be giving them all the money back. You'll be receiving some, which on the other side you might not be able to receive it. So you have to register for taxable. You have to register for VAT if you're providing taxable supply. So that's the first thing. You have to be providing taxable supply. If you're not providing taxable supply, like things that are exempt or outside the scope of VAT, it shouldn't be registered for VAT in the first place. Now, you would need to register if you expect that your turnover. So there are two types of registration. There's the voluntary one and there's the compulsory one. When I was talking about when I asked people why they should register for VAT, the reason is because if it's compulsory, if you say, oh, I'm supplying taxable supply, and you mention it and you say, oh, my turnover is this amount, I won't even continue with the conversation. I'll be like, oh, okay, welcome on board, this is your charges, and etc. I'll advise them on what they need to do, what they need to keep, etc. So there are some people that would register voluntarily, and there are some people that they don't have a choice. Now, if you're expecting that your turnover is going to be more than 85,000, first of all, you're supplying taxable supply. And I said earlier on, it has to be standard rated, zero rated, or reduced rated items. If you're not sure, you can check online just to be sure that whatever you're supplying is taxable supply. And then in the next 30 days, you're expecting that whatever you're supplying is going to be more than 85,000. Your turnover, the amount you're receiving from your clients, from your customers, is going to be more than 85,000. Then you don't have a choice. You have to register for VAT. Also, the other test we do is if in the last 12 months, your amount that you've received is more than 85,000. So then if you're trading, if you're on 70,000 or 60,000, you need to keep checking just to be sure of when you reach that threshold, because As soon as you reach that threshold, you need to start charging VAT. You need to inform HMRC that you are now under VAT and register for VAT. The other group of people are people that, for commercial reasons, they want to be registered for VAT. When I say commercial reason is some people would have to register because the customers they're working with need them to be VAT registered. And the reason why they might want them to be VAT registered is so that they might be able to claim back the VAT. Because the way VAT works is like a circle. You collect the money, we give it to HMRC, I will collect the money back from HMRC. So somehow it's a circle. For example, there's this case I worked with recently, and the client received VAT money and then did not realize she had to declare the VAT. And then the person that paid her the VAT, HMRC went for them and said, who did you pay the amount to? We need to, this person has not declared back the VAT. So it's like a circle. And if there's a missing piece in the circle, they would literally come for you. So because of that, everybody has to do their part in that circle. And when the circle is broken, they come for you. Now, I usually say this to everyone, like, VAT people are like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this online. They're like witches. And I think the reason why they're like that is because of that missing person. If your part is missing, they know it's missing. Because, and I get what they're trying to do, because the money is not actually yours. The services I've provided is £100. That is my own money. And I've come to you and say, I want to charge you £20 extra because I want to give HMRC. And then collect this money, and then I'm sitting on it, I've spent it. And then HMRC has not got their own part. So because of this, they get very angry, as in, they get very, very, very angry when they don't get their money back, or when you're trying to claim for things that did not happen. So, so some people would register voluntarily because of commercial reasons, because they're working with someone and it's better if they're VAT registered. Some people would want to because, like, a client that I talked to recently said, I said, oh, it's just about 5% you'll be getting back. And he said, oh, that's still something. You think if the person is earning 100k, 5% of that is £5,000. What's £5,000 going to do to you? Lots. So yeah, so at times it looks like it's tiny, but it's still something. Even if it's £20, even if it's £2, you can still buy pizza or have a night out eating somewhere on HMRC or your client. That's not even funny. Anyway, so some do it for commercial reasons, some do it to look good, some do it because they just want to do it so that they can get that little bit back. So whatever reason it is, there's advantage and there's disadvantage of doing it. Now, before I talk, or probably I just go on to the talking about the disadvantage and advantage. Advantage, like I said, is you claim back. You claim back that input VAT, and every little helps. All those tiny 20%, it does help somehow. And it depends on how much you're buying and how much you're selling as well. Even if you're under a scheme that you're just getting tiny back, it's still going a long way. So you get refund back on most of the things you pay except for cars. Please, if you're still claiming VAT for car that you use personally, please stop. Stop. A lot of people still don't get this, that you don't claim VAT on cars that you use for business and for personal reason. The only way you can claim VAT back on that is if that car is just for business 100% of the time. The insurance on it is business insurance. It's parked at your business premises. Nobody have access to taking it to their house or using it for personal reason, for no reason. So that then you then need to prove what that is with HMRC. Now I'll talk about how to register. Oh, I was talking about advantage and disadvantage. So that's the first advantage. You can claim back all the stuff back. It's nice and cool. Every little helps. But I have to say, it has more disadvantage to me personally. It has more disadvantage than advantage. All that little money you get here and there, you'll be surprised how much they pile up so quickly. All of a sudden, you're managing money for HMRC. Instead of you collecting £5,000 or £1,000 in a month for something you've done, you've been given £200. Most of us submit our returns quarterly. That means that's extra £600 sitting with you. Let's say you've claimed about £100 of stuff you've done. That's still £500 of HMRC money with you that you need to give back. So usually if you still really want to be VAT registered because of that £100, the advice usually is to have a separate account. That money is not yours. Put it aside, because that 3 months is going to go so quickly, and then you need to give that money back. I know how sad it is, but it does happen. Because we all need money, things come up, things we don't plan that have to happen. And unlike corporation tax and every other one, or the other tax, this money is not actually yours. It is for HMRC. So you start managing HMRC money. Another way of doing that is to pay monthly, so that you're not sitting on the money for that 3 months. Your record keeping goes up. Oh my God. If you've not registered voluntarily, that means you've earned, your turnover is more than 85,000. You have to be under making tax digital, which means you have to record your stuff in a certain way, or your receipt has to be kept digital. You have to be it's a different way entirely. In one of the videos I'll be showing, one of the live shows, I'll talk more about that. Because of time, I don't want to dive on so much of that. You have to be keeping records. All those receipts that you've paid for, all those things that you're trying to claim, you have to keep the receipts either digitally. In the olden days, we had to keep the receipt physically, but in these days, just take a picture and keep it somewhere. You've kept the record, because HMRC can come to you. It has happened. It does happen, and say, "You said you bought so things. We want to see the receipt." And if you don't have the receipt, that's up to you. So number one, don't claim for what you don't have the record for. But record keeping goes up. Your accountancy fee goes up, because that's an extra service you're trying to have. And also, if you don't pay on time, you get penalty for not paying on time. With other taxes, if you don't pay on time, they'll charge you interest, which is just probably per day, just tiny money here and there. However, with VAT, they charge you a proper penalty for not paying on time, because to be fair, you've got their money, you're not giving them back, and it increases from time to time. So because of that, you get penalty for not paying. Now, how can you register for VAT? So if you've watched this so far, you're thinking, "Oh God, I need to register for VAT." I'll normally say, ask for advice. Don't just jump on it and start doing it. On my YouTube channel, I've got loads of videos on VAT registration, VAT, things you need to know about VAT. On my website, there's loads of write-up as well, which is Ronto's Account Unlimited. However, if you can't get that advice, you can watch those videos, or better still, get someone to talk to you more about it. Obviously, I'm going to do this video this week. I'll do it next week. Hopefully, maybe the third week as well, because it is massive. But I can't finish it today. Definitely not, or else I'll be passing too much knowledge, and it's not sinking in the way I would love it to do. So how to register? You can register either by paper. When I mean paper, is you can download the form online, and then you fill the form, and then you send it back to HMRC. When it's registered, they will send you your VAT certificate. For every person, every business you're going to be dealing with, they will ask you for your VAT certificate. They won't just give you the money because you said I'm VAT registered. According to the law, they should actually ask you. So they will ask you for that certificate, and then they keep it in a record. Now, at times it's possible to register now and say you've been VAT registered since January. It's possible you can backdate. That means your employer would have to, or that person you're supplying business to, would have to pay you all that arrears, and then you need to give all that money back as well. So because HMR also asks you, since when did you become VAT registered, or since when did you want to register voluntarily? Now, if you have gone over 85,000, you should have actually done it in 30 days. So it's not even advisable to say you've in January, and then that means you've done something very, very bad. I won't say too much about that. However, you can backdate if you're voluntary, and then you get that money back, and then you need to give the money back to HMRC. Remember, you're just on a unpaid tax collector. Yeah, that's what I usually call it. So you can download the form, you can send it to them, they'll send it back, they'll give you the certificates, you're good, you're registered. Also, you can do it online. If you want to do it online, you'd have to register if you don't have a business account, which most people should have by now, and also your personal tax account as well. You need a user ID. They would need to identify you. You might need some activation code, etc. But you can actually do it online as well. And as soon as you register, you have access to your VAT registration certificate. Like I said earlier on, I wouldn't want to push more than this because I don't want to talk too much. However, next week I would like to talk about the different VAT schemes. There are different VAT schemes, there are different way of administering, there are different ways of submitting it. I know this one is general for everyone because most of us, like I said, pay VAT and you'd want to know about it. But next week I'm going to go more into business owners, what they need to do, how they need to go about it, how they need to submit their VAT returns, when they need to submit their VAT returns. However, before I stop today's video, I'd like to talk about something that I'm doing, and I've talked about it times without number, but I'll keep talking about it because it's very, very close to my heart. So this year I'm taking on a challenge, which is an aquathlon, which is running 5k and swimming 400 meters. Last year I did the 10k, but this year I'm doing 5k. But the swimming bit is the challenge for me because I only started learning swimming 6 weeks ago. I'm not there yet, I'm still practicing, but I have to do that laps on that day and running as well. And the reason why I'm taking the challenge is to raise money for the food bank and also a foundation I started this year. And the foundation deals with children in Nigeria. So the plan is we take different primary school at every different time. The one we've been working with last year now, I felt like we still need to stay this year because there were so many things to do. And so this year, my friends helped me in food book donations, and they have a library now, which I'm going to show you a video about it very soon. So because of that, if you'd like to give, I would really appreciate it. Every little helps. You'll be surprised what £5 can buy in the shops. I'm not even joking. You'll be surprised the bag of what £5 can buy. And this is for people that are going through a lot at Christmas, and then in January the food will still be there if possible, and it helps somehow. I've done this is my 5th official one, and my friends and families and clients are always kind enough to support me. So I'd love if you can support me. My Just Giving page is Oladapo Sulaimon. I'll keep posting it everywhere, so I would appreciate that. However, today I appreciate you for joining me. Time is very important, and knowledge is power as well. You don't even know when this is going to be useful. You don't know when you're going to want to need this, and then the awareness would help you to make the right decision, to ask for the right help. And for me, it's me keeping all these videos, and when people ask me a question later, I'm like, oh, I did a video about VAT the other day, go and watch. And by that way, everybody's doing the right thing. Because the worst thing you can ever do in this life, for me actually, in this line of work, is paying penalty to HMRC. It's like that money, you could give it to me and I can use it for food and have a nice picture after I've taken that picture from eating. Anyway, thank you so much. I hope this video helps you. Share it. Please feel free to share it as much as you can. I'll upload on my YouTube channel as well so that others can watch. And for those that are watching offline later on, most people does. If you have any question, my email is info@ronzosaccountant.co.uk. I'll answer if it's a straightforward question. Thank you very much. It's Ola Slimon.